All right, today we're diving into one of the world's most influential books, but maybe not in the way you'd expect. We're going to look at the Quran, not just as a religious text, but as a potential mathematical puzzle. The idea is that hidden inside its very structure, there might be a deliberate, intricate code. Let's see what we can find. So let's just start with this wild idea. What if a book compiled over 1,400 years ago was intentionally built around a complex mathematical system, a kind of invisible blueprint hidden in plain sight? That's the core question we're going to explore. Okay, to even entertain an idea that big, you've got to start with the clues, right? And the fascinating thing here is that the clues aren't buried somewhere deep. They're right there on the surface, in the very structure of the text itself. So first things first, let's get our bearings. We're talking about the Quran. Revelation starts way back in 610 AD. The name itself, in Arabic, actually means recitation, and it's organized into 114 chapters, which are called suras. Simple enough, but this is where the puzzle really begins. You know, one of the first things that jumps out at you is this incredible repetition. There's this one phrase, the Bismallah, which means in the name of God, and it kicks off 113 out of the 114 chapters. It's like this constant foundational piece of the structure, almost like a textual anchor. But then you hit a real mystery. This is clue number one for anyone looking for a code. See, 29 of those chapters, they start with something else entirely. Not a phrase, not even a word you can pronounce. They begin with these strange combinations of letters. They're called the Quranic initials. So what do these look like? Well, you'll see things like Alif Lam Mim at the start of a few chapters, or Ha Mim. Sometimes it's just one letter, like Kaf or Noon. Now, for centuries, people have debated what they mean. But what if that's the wrong question? What if they're not supposed to be read at all? What if they're a signal, a sign, telling us to start counting? All right, so we've got these mysterious letters, these initials. But the rabbit hole goes way deeper. When you zoom out and look at the whole book's layout, you find something really strange. Two totally different timelines. Okay, check this out. There's what's called the revealed order. That's the chronological sequence, the order the chapters were actually revealed in over 23 years. But then there's the compiled order, the final version of the book we have today. And here's the kicker, they're not the same at all. The chapters were completely rearranged. And you have to ask, why? And I mean, we're not talking about a small shuffle. This was a major reordering. Tixtaron 96, for example. This was the very first chapter to be revealed, the very beginning. But where does it end up in the final book? Position number 96. That's no accident. That's a deliberate choice. So was there some kind of hidden logic behind it? To even begin to answer that, we're gonna need a different kind of tool. A way to translate this text from just words into something measurable. And that's where this ancient system called Gematria enters the picture. Now, Gematria isn't some new thing invented for this. It's an ancient idea, used in many cultures. The concept is actually pretty simple. Every letter in an alphabet has a number assigned to it. So you can take any word, add up the values of its letters, and get a total numerical value for that word. The Arabic alphabet has its own well-known gematria system. You know, Aleph is 1, Ba is 2, and so on up the line. And once you apply this system, the whole text transforms. It's not just a book of words anymore. It's this massive database of numbers. And here's where it gets really interesting. Take the Arabic word for one, Wahid. If you add up its letters using gematria, you get the number 19. Okay, but then you take a totally different word, guidance, Huda. Its gematria value, also 19. This is our first little breadcrumb suggesting that maybe, just maybe, the number 19 is important. And that leads us right to the heart of this whole theory. A single number that some researchers believe connects everything. Those mystery initials, the weird chapter order, the word counts, all of it. Like a master key to the whole puzzle. And you know, this whole idea isn't some ancient secret. For centuries, scholars were focused on the text itself. It wasn't until 1974, when a biochemist named Rashad Khalifa used early computers to crunch numbers, that this theory emerged. He proposed that the entire structure of the Quran was built on a mathematical code, and it was all based on one specific number. And that number is 19. Yep, 19. The whole theory hinges on this one prime number. Remember those Quranic initials we talked about? Well, the claim is that if you count those specific letters within the chapters they introduce, the total is always a multiple of 19. This wasn't just some fringe idea either. It actually got a lot of attention. Back in 1981, the legendary mathematician and writer Martin Gardner wrote about it in Scientific American. Now, he wasn't saying it was some kind of divine miracle, but he definitely acknowledged how complex and interesting the patterns were. He called it an ingenious study of the Quran. So, what's the actual evidence? Let's dig into the numbers a bit. What are the patterns within the Quran itself that people point to as proof of this code? Well, for starters, the Quran is a very numerical book to begin with. It explicitly mentions 30 different whole numbers, everything from 1 all the way up to 100,000. So numbers are clearly a big part of the text from the get-go. But it's not just that there are numbers. It's how often they appear that gets really interesting. So of those 30 numbers, 13 of them are mentioned just one single time in the entire book. And guess which number is on that very exclusive list? Yep, 19. It gets a special treatment appearing only once. And it goes beyond just whole numbers. The text also specifically mentions 8 different fractions, like 1/2, 1/3. So the mathematical language of the book is pretty sophisticated, which just adds another layer to this idea of a complex, hidden structure. So let's pull it all together. You've got these mysterious initials acting like a key. You have a chapter order that completely defies the timeline of Revelation, and you have this deep, deep web of numerical patterns that seem to pivot around the number 19. It all leads to this one massive question. Is it possible? Could a text from the 7th century, revealed piece by piece over 2 decades, actually be woven together with a mathematical design this precise? Well, that's where faith, mathematics, and history all collide.